This is Global Study Talks, the podcast of educations.com. Welcome to a new episode of Global Study Talks. Today we have the pleasure to speak with Luci, who it's not that she has a history studying abroad yet, but she will have a history studying abroad because she decided that she's going from the USA to the UK to study. But we will get there. Hello, Luci.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with
Thank
us.
you. Yeah.
And it's very interesting because in this podcast, we always talk with people that maybe have a story, but it's nice to see what's the perspective of someone that is just starting. You decided that you're going to go abroad, so that's a step, right? But you probably have a lot of questions, and I would love to know what are those questions? Like, which are those questions that you have before starting the journey?
Yeah. No, definitely. When I was first researching, I was super nervous about the metric system just because we don't use that at all in the States. And so even though where I went to school, it was close to Canada, it's just not, we don't use it. So that was actually my biggest sense of nerves. But other than that, I was really, I'm really good. I'm super excited to go abroad, actually. I'm not super nervous, but I completely understand being nervous because I went to boarding school and I remember my first year of going away, super nervous.
So you have experience, even though you are only 18. Luci is 18 and she already decided this amazing journey. But you had an experience before in your home country. Tell us a little bit where you're from and where did you go for high school? So you have the experience of leaving your house and being with others in another place.
Yeah, so actually, when I was 14, me and my family decided that it would be best for me to go abroad, well, not abroad, but across the country to boarding school actually because I have dyslexia, and so just where I was living, it wasn't really working out with schools and such, so we were looking, for boarding schools. And honestly, it was COVID, so it was really, really hard. And I actually transferred out of my first boarding school, and then I found my boarding school that I graduated from. It was, honestly, boarding school is such an awesome experience for me. I loved it. I loved being able to live with the kids in the dorms. So yeah, I'm pretty used to, packing up every September and moving across the country and then coming back in, June and May.
But now you are done with school.
Yeah.
And what have you done after you finished school?
So I actually took a gap year
Okay.
before high school and university. I took a gap year and I traveled around Europe, Australia, and Thailand. And then I had an internship in Europe. And so I just felt that I wanted a little bit more experience before I fully jumped into school.
And when did you decide? Did you decide your university in the UK while you were traveling, or did you decide this before?
So I actually decided before. I knew that I wanted to go to Europe for university, specifically England. But I was also a little bit nervous to make that big jump across the ocean. Even though I had gone to boarding school, I was still a little bit nervous.
It's across the ocean. It's not the same. You cannot go back home any, weekend.
No, a 6-hour flight versus a 10-hour flight. It might not seem like that big of a deal, but it is, it is quite a large deal. And I totally feel for the kids who just go straight into it. That's a big jump to make.
So you feel like having the boarding school previously gave you like a sort of like a, not straightforward to that big change, right?
Yeah. Most definitely it was a step in the right direction. I would say even though, I did have that experience, I was still nervous about moving abroad, as any kid would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really big step. But yeah, I'm super glad for my gap year. I think it was great.
We talked about where you're going, but we didn't talk about what you're studying. So tell us about that decision, and share with the audience that is listening, what did you decide to study?
So first year of England, I'm going to be doing a foundation program at Loughborough University, which is specifically made for international students, just to get them caught up in the English curriculum. And then I'm going to be studying sports management at Loughborough University.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yes, very exciting. And with my sports management, I want to focus on motorsports, specifically F1. So,
okay, so you're an F1 fan.
I am.
And you decided to use it for your career path. That's very interesting, right? Because some people don't mix their passion with their, the decision of studying.
Yeah.
They might love F1, but they are not thinking about working with that. So you are really decided into that.
Yeah.
Right?
No, so me and my dad always loved F1. Like, I can remember watching F1 as a kid and being like, what is this? What is going on? And I just loved being able to watch it with my dad. And I wasn't really totally sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do something, that made me happy. And I remember thinking F1 really makes me happy. And so, why not? Why not work there?
Well done. I think it's very inspiring for others to hear this. And was that the reason why you decided UK? Because UK is like huge, right? In
Yes.
that area.
Yeah, and it was a huge factor. I mean, I really did look at many schools around Europe, but UK really, it brought me in, and I was like, there's so many places with F1, and Loughborough does actually have connections to F1. So I just thought, hey, this might be it.
Do you see yourself working in the UK after graduating?
Yes, yeah. I plan to stay in Europe for until I get to F1, hopefully.
But let's go back a little bit. When you were deciding your university, did you check websites? Did you talk to people? How was that process of deciding where to study?
Yeah, so actually, I just started looking my junior year, so my 11th year of high school. I was like, I don't really know anything. And I just kind of Google searched and whatever, and then we had a big college fair in actually Hartford, Connecticut, that it's like a Massachusetts, New England thing where, Hartford hosts a really big, all the universities send people there and you can just walk around the booths and look at all the different schools. And there was a, what was it? I think it was Leeds Beckett University stand. I was like, oh, England. I didn't even think about that. Because, I didn't really want to work in NASCAR. That's the big racing in the States. And it wasn't the same thing as F1. I really, wanted to do F1. And so I didn't even think about England until that. And then I started, researching, universities in England, sports management in England. And that's when I found Loughborough.
Did you get in the university websites? Did you check with the students that were doing that career?
I mainly browsed university websites. I found that it was easiest and most trustworthy. Just for me, I was like, if it's the university, I want to learn from the university. And then I did use a couple secondary websites. I'm so sorry, I can't tell you them off the top
No,
of my
it's
head.
totally fine.
It was almost 3 years ago, which is crazy to say. But yeah.
Because you're 18.
I'm
and
18.
3 years ago, Lucy already knew what she was going to do.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah. I know. A lot of my friends don't even know now. So I think it's really cool to be able to say, like, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And yeah, it was a hard search, and it definitely took me quite some time to find Loughborough. I mean, weeks, maybe months. Yeah, it was a pretty long haul.
Another question a lot of people have when it comes to study abroad, I think it has to do with the relationship with your family. Some families might find it, very weird, or they might not even agree with this. How was your case with your family?
So actually, my dad's Canadian. So, he did come to U.S., and my mom is from the U.S., so they were all very supportive. And my grandma actually went to boarding school, and so that's how we knew about boarding school, is because my grandma went. And they're very supportive. I mean, my sister goes to boarding school, and she's also looking abroad, so they're very supportive.
Nice. What about the economical situation? Did you consider that when choosing a university? Did you check for scholarships, or in this case, you have like the support of your family? How's that situation?
So, with how my family kind of runs, I have the full support. I mean, realistically, the economics, we were going to figure it out either way. I mean, they're very supportive. If I said this is my dream and I'm going to do it, they're going to be like, full send. Same with my sister, right? Like, whatever she chooses to do, because she also has not chosen yet, and she's 16, so no stress. We're like polar opposites in that way. But yeah, my parents are very supportive, and I'm very, very grateful to have the parents that I have, because they're amazing and I love them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super important, because if you're going to be abroad, probably they will visit often, and they
Yeah.
will have also a connection in that way.
Yeah.
Because you like to travel, right? And your family likes to travel, you were
Yep.
saying before.
Yeah. I know. My parents love to say that they were early birds, 4 years early, because both my sister and I went to boarding school. So, and it's kind of funny, the dynamics, and seeing how different families run and how ours runs, because, they don't get to see us a lot of the year because we're away. And so it's really nice to be able to have that connection.
Let's talk a little bit about this year gap that you took because you were with other students also from the US in this program. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So it was an EF gap year program, and for the first 12 weeks, sorry, it's a 25-week program. So the first 12 weeks we were traveling. So we started in England, and we were in a new city every week. So Wednesdays were travel days, and we had a good full week in each city. So we started in London,
Wow.
yeah, Paris, Florence, Zurich, Munich, Prague, and then we went to Australia, which was Melbourne, Cairns, Sydney, and then we went to Thailand, which was Bangkok, Krabi, and Koh Lanta. Yeah, 12 weeks of traveling every week. It was pretty intense. I mean, but I've never experienced anything like that, and I feel like the friends that I made are lifelong friends. I mean, I still talk to people to this day.
That's a really important thing, I think. In all the stories of the people that travel abroad, like study abroad, the friends they make or
Yeah.
the new relationships they have with people from all around the world, the globe, that maybe it's hard to find in your local city or in your home country. What are you expecting in this next big journey that will be for you to go to the UK to study on that note, like on the social
Yeah.
part?
I mean, honestly, making friends in a dorm will bring you closer to the people more than you ever know. I mean, I could tell you stories about boarding school bathrooms, being with, 50 girls.
Could you tell it in like a podcast, or is it like a secret? More like a secret.
I don't know if you want to hear most of them.
Maybe later. Maybe later.
They can be a little gruesome. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different type of bond. I mean, being able to live with these people and travel with these people, you make such close friendships. It's amazing to see, going to elementary, middle school with these kids and growing up with them, but really going through college and boarding school, I feel more connected to these people because those are the years that like really shape you as a person. And so I really feel very connected, and I'm super excited to make new friends in England.
I am excited for you. I think it will be an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Where in England is going to be, and what is the university called?
So I'm going to be attending Loughborough University in Loughborough, England.
Okay.
It's a very university-centered town. I mean, the university takes up a good portion of it. And surprisingly, it was the exact opposite of what I was looking for.
You were looking for a big city, or what?
I was looking for a big city.
London, for example.
Yeah, London. I love London.
Yes.
So where my boarding school was, it was a small town, like one stop sign kind of town, and only 215 kids at one given time. And so it was really small and really tight community. And well, not that I was tired of it, but I just wanted more people. And so Loughborough has about 15,000 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dispersed between each, undergraduate, masters and whatever. But I was really looking for an open campus, something with a city, London, Leeds.
Adult life. Kind of thing.
Adult life. And then Loughborough came out of nowhere. And I was like, you know what? This is the best option for me. And,
the program. So you take
Yeah.
the program mostly.
Yeah.
Some people decide their destination based on the city or based on, of course, the country. But it's interesting that you decided based on the program that you were going to study.
Yeah, I honestly think that it's not very American of me to do so.
What would be the American way?
The American way is you choose the university that you can most see yourself at, whether that's the city, the, campus. So let's take ASU, for example, Arizona State University.
Okay.
Big party, open campus, a lot of kids. And, people go there because they want to go there, And they're not totally going there to figure it out. I feel like in Europe, everybody kind of is expected to know what they want to do, and you choose a program best for what you want to do, or whatever.
So in a way, you feel more related to European mindset.
I do. It's when I told my college counselor that I wanted to go to Europe, he was like, whoa, what? And then when I told him that I was going for a program, he was like, do you even like the university? And I'm like, actually, yes, but, I'm also going for the program. But he was really like, okay, you got to make sure you like it. You know, you got to like it. And I was like, no, I'm locked in. I want to do this, you
I'm
know.
sure you will like it. I mean,
Of
if
course.
you're
I
passionate
mean,
about what you're doing, that
yeah,
makes a lot of sense, right?
yeah,
And you can move around.
of
It's not that you
course.
have to stay there every weekend, for example.
Exactly.
You're
I
yeah.
mean, London's an hour train away, and you best believe that I will be on that train. You know, I love London. It's my favorite place.
We talked about the program and everything, but I wondered if you are interested, for example, in doing internships, if you are interested in working while studying.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that is a big part of, you know, what I want to do. I really want to get into the motorsports world. Like, oh, that is a dream. And, you know, I'm really ready to do that. And so actually my dad bought a car. It's from Radical Racing,
Look at that. There.
England. I'm sponsor me, you know. Radical Racing. And so the first time I ever went to England, we actually toured the factory. And where, well, not where they make the cars, but where they kind of finish them
Yeah.
and put the final touches. And when I told them that I wanted to do this, they were like, "You should come in an internship with us," and blah 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 blah. So let's hope that there's still the offer is still there.
Yeah, I'm sure you will have a lot of opportunities there because it's
Absolutely.
quite a specific, like the program. Do you know how many people are going to be in your same program?
In sports management, I don't know the exact number just because it
But it's a
varies
small
every year.
university, you said.
Yeah, it's a pretty small university and it's very sports centered. So I would say sports management is a very popular, you know, degree to go into. So I don't say would say it's like a small degree,
Hmm.
but I couldn't give you an exact number. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a semi popular. Yeah.
Why going to university nowadays? I wonder if you have an
Mm,
answer for that because a lot of people now, I think there are a lot of different paths, right?
of
It's not
course.
like back in the days where the people that could went to the university straight away. There are a lot of options, there are a lot of short courses or things. Why you decided to go to an actual university?
I wanted the experience. I really think that, you know, whether university is for you or it's not, it's, you know, it's up to you. And I feel like you can be successful either way. I just feel like for me, it was the next step. You know, I really want to study there. I really want to be able to say that I studied there, you know. And I just feel like it's the right move for me, you know. Some kids, you know, that I went to school with are not going to university. And that is totally, you know, that's them. And they're going to be successful in their own way. And I just feel like you have to choose what's best for you. And if university is not what's best for you, why go? You know? Like my roommate here, she's not going to university. She's actually going to go do more traveling after this.
Hmm.
And, you know, and that's great. And that's her. And that's amazing. But she could never survive my path because we're just so different. And I think that's amazing. And that's great.
Even if you're super young right now, I am sure you have things to say to people that are doubting about moving abroad or are doubting about taking a gap year and traveling around. What would you say to them?
Do it. I mean, honestly, it was probably one of the best experiences to be able to travel with kids my age. I mean, it really opens your eyes to different perspectives. You know, even for me going to boarding school, everybody's coming from everywhere. You know, I know kids from all over because I went to
Mm.
boarding school. But it was interesting to see kids just from the US, you know, and just from Canada traveling with me because I hadn't really experienced that, especially going to such an international school. You know, we had kids from India and China and South Korea. And like that's awesome and they're, you know, awesome to talk to, but just being able to travel with kids from the US, it was also super, you know, eye-opening. Do it. Just do
Just
it.
do it.
What's, you know, what's stopping you? What's the hold up, you know?
Well, it comes with a lot of questions, right? Like,
Mhm.
and with a lot of uncertainty. And to close this interview, I would like to ask you, what are your questions? The ones that you don't have answer for, like the ones that you might, maybe we call you in some time and we have an update on Lucy's life, on
Yeah.
Lucy's student life. That would
Yeah.
be wonderful. And I'm wondering, what are you feeling now? Because I know you're super excited, but I am also sure that you have some doubts or some
Yeah. Yeah.
fear of some sort.
You know, I try not to think about my fears of not making it
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to make it, you know? I'm going to do this. But I think that the biggest thing is, you know, self-doubt. Everybody struggles with something. And like I would say my biggest struggle is connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty set in my ways, and I do struggle with making super tight connections. So, I mean, I do worry about, how am I going to connect with all these English kids who have no relation to me at all? But then I have to sit back and be like, no, you know, you got this. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many friends I make, I guess.
You got this, Lucy, of course. And we will thank you. Yeah, we will. I will do that again. Of course, you got this, Lucy. And we're going to try to track your path because I think it will be very
Hopefully.
inspiring for everyone. So I hope we can interview you again as a
Yeah.
student, maybe in the UK, or as a graduate, right? Like
Yeah.
a alumni from the university in a couple of years. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here in Global
Call me
Study
in 4
Talks.
years. I'll be done.
I will call you in 4 years. 4 years is your program?
Yeah, 4 years. Well, because I take the foundation program.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 4 years of study for
4
Lucy
years.
from next year on.
Next year on 2027? No, 2028.
2028.
Maybe.
We will have an specialist, an F1, and we are
Yeah.
going to contact her. If
Yeah.
you have to remember us.
Of course, I will. How could I ever forget this?
Thank you so much, Lucy, and see you in the next episode of Global Study Talks.
Thank you for listening to Global Study Talks. If you are interested in studying abroad, check out educations.com and get all the help you need in every part of your study abroad journey. See you next time!